Greetings, it is I, Countess Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome! Today, it's time to continue our discussion on anime series and using them in your BESM games. So, I've got 4 new anime series as I've been going on. I've got ones that are from this season. New season's coming up soon, though, for October, but still the summer season, 2016, and some from previously the fall 2015 season. So I'm still running through some from that season. Let's dive into the 4 series we're going to talk about today. Today, from the summer 2016, I've got 2 new series, Taboo Tatto and Tales of Zestria. So let's start with Taboo Tatto. Taboo Tatto, we focus on Seiji. He's our main character. He's a high school student. He helps out this homeless man who's getting beat up. And the homeless man, in return, gives him a strange tattoo that it shows up on his hand. He is then thrust into this conflict between the U.S. Army and this kingdom, who are all looking for these ancient artifacts that are in tattoo form, that are powered, giving special magical abilities to people in hopes to change the balance of power of the world. Of course, Seiji ends up with the U.S. Army because really they're sort of the good guys in this situation, but really it's the other side is more for, you know, conquering the world, and U.S. Army's more for we just want to keep the power to keep our own powers, so it's sort of lesser of two evils kind of situation, you know, that sort of thing. But still, it's a very interesting series that Seiji gets his own ability, and he battles it out with fellow people that have abilities, seeking out, try to collect up these tattoos, capture, defeat the people that have them. It's an action series. There's battling it out with special powers. Of course it's action. It's adventure. They're questing, in a way, to regain these powers, going against an evil organization. I would also call it, though, a fantasy. They have magical ancient powers that are powered by these tattoos that are granting them effectively like magic powers. And I really only rate this one a 3. There are some dark connotations in it that I don't always enjoy, and I haven't had a chance to really dive into the depths of the series that I think I really need to see if I would appreciate it more, but I have enjoyed the amount that I have watched. So moving on, let's talk about Tales of Zestria. So this is a video game series. It's also an anime. In the anime series, it starts focusing around the princess of Highland, Alicia. And it also focuses around 2 young men, Sori and Mikilio. And the anime focuses around the fact that they end up going on this kind of adventure, that there's this threat to the kingdom. It's kind of supernatural, dark powers that Alicia kind of gets swept up to it, because there's an episode 0 that really shows her getting swept on it, and it becomes her quest, because a lot of horrible things happen. She kind of goes to help people, bad things happen, and she runs into these boys, and sort of their quest line intertwines with her quest line, and eventually it ends up that the overall, the attempts is to help and save the kingdom on this kind of questing adventure that they go on. Again, it's also an action one. It has that sort of sword and sorcery fantasy a little bit more. I'd say more sword than anything. It's got more of a feel of that, but it does also have some fantasy elements with, you know, supernatural powers, enemy beings, that kind of thing. But it's also an adventure anime, of course. They're going on an epic quest to save a kingdom. You know, the princess is trying her best to prevent the dark powers that she's run into, the strange weather that has sort of plagued the land, from bringing about a darkness that really she doesn't want happening to her kingdom. Now, I also rate this one a 3. I've enjoyed the story so far. I would like to see how it ends up, to see if that changes my opinion towards the end of it so far. It's close to the end. I have a couple episodes to catch up on this one, hence why, you know, but I'm far enough in that I'm, you know, doing this review. So I would like to see where it ends up, though, to see if my opinion changes a little bit, because the ending can always do that. But let's move on to the series from fall of 2015. I got 2 more here, Beautiful Bones and Tantei Team KZ Jiken Note. But let's start with Beautiful Bones. So our series focuses around Sakurako-san, who's a a genius. She's a beautiful genius that is obsessed with bones. She really is kind of standoffish. She's not good with people. She's this like genius and understands bones and how they work and everything about that. And she would sort of be a recluse, keep to herself, not do anything. If it isn't for her assistant / companion, Shotaro, who brings her out into the world to accompany her, so that she goes and checks out things. And unfortunately, when the two of them adventure out into the world, it usually results in them finding some kind of corpse. Now, whether or not this corpse is related to a murder, or a suicide, or an accident, is up to the mystery of the show. That they discover and explore it, and that she learns from the bones and can use those to tell a story. And it's a combination of then Shotaro and the people around there to fill out the story that she's sort of painting a basic picture from the information she gleans from these bones. Now, I would call this one definitely a mystery. There's always a mystery involved in it. There's always that mystery of what happened to this person. Why did they die? Why are their bones here? Now, I would call a little bit of a detective one, because it does get that detective feel when they're dealing with the possible murder, an actual murder, or some kind of case where a crime was committed that resulted in this death. It comes about with that. And I would also call it a little bit of forensic. It has that idea of the forensics of studying the bones, you know? It gives that feeling that she's an expert at it, and she can just look at these bones and glean information that is a lot of information that someone looking at these bones might use to solve a crime and stuff. So it's got that forensic feel. Now, I do rate this one a 5. This was one of my favorite ones from that series. It does have these little dark connotations that, you know, like terrible things happen to these people that they died. But it also, I like a good mystery because it, you know, it's something has happened and solving the mystery is interesting. No matter what the result would be or what's going on, the solving of the crime, solving the mystery is what's interesting, and I kind of like that idea, and it brings about some information that I enjoy. So let's move on to Tantei Team KZ Jiken Note. This series centers around Aya. She's a young student. She's going to supplementary classes to study for exams. Japanese students do that, of course, if you didn't know. Anyway, so she's studying for the exams. She doesn't really have a lot of friends, but she runs into these 4 boys who apparently are sort of this team. And she gets recruited by them because of her own expertise, because one of them wants to form a detective group. So each of them brings in a certain type of expertise, which makes them excellent members of the group. She brings in that she has this excellent hand on English and literature and sort of those things, and can bring that expertise to the group. And she also records all their adventures down on paper. So the 5 of them then form the detective team, which goes about on these adventures. And some of them are a lot more grand than others. They're doing them because they sort of get volunteers, sort of pay for them. Sometimes they run into them, that sort of thing. Deal with ones that are more personal. But each of them, they have these mysteries that they run into and solve as a team. Now again, this one's a mystery one. They run into a lot of mysteries, big or small, criminal or just mundane. It's also, again, a detective story. They're a team of detectives. That's what they're attempting to be. Yes, they're students. Yes, they're very young. But they're attempting to be this elite team of detectives using their skills in various ways. But then I would call it a student one, because they're very young, they are students, they do go to these supplementary lessons, these little schools. It's focused around there, and the fact that they sort of have to balance out their student lives with the fact that they want to be this team of detectives. Now, I would rate this one a 4. It's a pretty great series. I enjoy it a lot. I would recommend watching it. Now, let's talk about using them in your BESM games. Now, for Taboo Tatto, I would give your characters 400 points. They're going to be pretty powerful, pretty elite. Have them members of the U.S. team, whether they are original members of the U.S. team coming over to Japan, or they are someone that is recruited, because they do have a few people like that gain abilities and become recruited. And then have your characters, you can either have them just try to gain these tattoos, try to gain the artifacts, the abilities, trying to find them, deal with the people that have them, or you could dive into a greater plot at hand, going against the kingdom, and dealing with the problems that come about because of that. You can do either kind of route. You can keep it very simple, or you could bring in a larger plot overall. Now, for Tales of Zestria, I would keep it fairly simple to 350 points. They're going to be sort of elite people, probably special abilities, special equipment, that sort of thing. Have them try to basically protect the kingdom, defend the kingdom. They're going to go on some kind of epic quest. You can mimic the anime as much as you want, or come up with your own version of the quest line, that sort of defeating the powers that are going against the kingdom and trying to defeat it, or threatening it in a way. And whatever storyline you come up with, whatever way you come about that using this storyline, just do it and have your team of people. I would have them already united together when you start the sessions that you're doing, so you don't have to worry about bringing them all together, and then have them on the quest. And again, wherever they go, you can mimic the anime all you want, or you can vary from it. Now, Beautiful Bones. For this one, I would recommend have 140 points, and you're going to be solving mysteries involving bones, whether they are, of course, murders, accidents, suicides, anything like that, entirely up to you by the mystery that you develop. And you're going to have each of your people sort of form out this team of people that work together in order to solve the mystery. Of course, you will have different people that are better at certain things or bring different things to the table, because there's a unique cast of characters that work together in a way sometimes. Of course, you always have Sakurako and Sotaru, but effectively what you'd be doing is expanding the basic team from just those two and including some more people that would be always there for it. So it would be more open, and you'd have more people working together for the same thing. Rather than just two people and then interchange some people, you would have a group of people working together constantly in order to do it. And then the final one is, of course, Tantei Team, KZ, Jiken Note. I would say do 110 points, have them students. You're going to have students forming a detective team and going on a variety of mysteries. Give them mysteries that are very simple to solve, ones like a missing pet or something. You could give them a little more extreme ones, maybe something like a kidnapping. I wouldn't go too far beyond that sort of thing. Theft, kidnapping would probably be the worst things that they could run into, and I would have that more that they run into it rather than someone comes to them with a mission. But you could also, again, include more personal storylines, that maybe there's some kind of problem with one of their own personal storylines created by the backstory of the player that you can bring in and use those defects that they might have, the defects that they built into their characters, to come up with some kind of storyline around that would be personal and a mystery. So that's it for today. I went over these 4 anime, I gave you basic reviews of them, and I told you some information, some suggestions that would help you use them in your BESM games. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows your support for the channel, the Empire, and the work I do. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.